I forgot that my Bluetooth headphones are the ones synced up for this. Oops. I looked and I realized my microphone wasn't working for one. Roll high and grow high, Riven. I literally spazzed out. I'm so used to putting on my cabled headphones, because of my Switch streams. And then I forgot, like, oh no, wait, this is a just chatting. Oh, I need to change my category, by the way. Yeah. Hang on. Yeah. I completely forgot to change everything. 1 second. One second. I'm trying to change my category and everything. I completely forgot. I have been I have been eyeing my frames. Okay? I also forgot I need to put on Shubi. And then go to the screen. She's a little late. Here she is. Okay, so just sum up. What the stream is, it's just real quick. It's a test stream because I was troubleshooting things with Celestial because my past couple streams, things have, just things, you know, like the frames would drop and would essentially, I'd call it crash. But I was telling Celestial, I'm like, I can't. I can't, like, because my anxiety is through the roof with it. And he said, well, there's a few different things we can try. We tried a few things, and then the one I tried just now, it worked. My frames are fine. I didn't have to go into admin mode, you know, run as administrator for OBS. All's good. And I'm guessing things are nice and crystal clear on your end as well. Because I was panicking so bad. I was like, please let this be the solution because I don't know how much more my anxiety-riddled heart can take. Because I legit saved before I went to fight Giovanni, and then the stream just crashed out in terms of frames. I looked at Riven, I'm like, I'm just gonna close my game, and I'm gonna pick off from where I saved right before Giovanni, because I know right up until Giovanni's stream was fine. I see you do. Yippee. I hope you're better now. Yeah, I can tell if it's my eyes or the background. It looks a little low quality. I'm not quite sure. Like, from what I'm able to look at, it looks one thing. It looks okay. I think I have tried to, I think I've been trying to figure out, like, how to do the thing. I think I had dynamic bitrate enabled. I think I'd have to, yeah, I think I would have to change it around. I selected for it to deselect, so, I mean, I don't know. From what I'm able to see on my end, things look crystal clear, unless, is it really fuzzing out? It says slow modes enabled right now. Huh. I'm just gonna listen because Utopia kind of put me down. Oh. I hope things will get a little better. But, yeah, I'm eyeing my dropped frames, and things are just fine, as they should be, because I waited for... What I had to do is I had to restart my router. I had to restart my internet router. Sleepier. Put me down like I'm tired. Ah, I see. Still, it's like sleepy will really get you. But yeah, it says slow mode right now is enabled. I don't know if that's affecting the stream or not. Otherwise it's saying my bits are excellent, which is good because that means resetting the router actually fixed the problem. And I'm glad. I'm really happy about that because I already was trying to kind of work on a new starting soon screen. And, you know, for when I streamed on my Switch, and I was just worrying all about the frames. But I'm glad to see it's at least working. In other news, at least in terms of Tomodachi, since it seems it at least worked, or at least now I know the solution for if OBS crashes out again. It's just my crappy phone. That makes sense. Look how long that phone has been around. It's been around a long time. I can go back and look at the VOD to be absolutely sure. And just, like, hear the quality of my voice. See how things look. Because looking at it live on the dashboard, things look okay. And things on OBS look okay. So, yeah, reporting in. Hi, Miss D. I figured out the troubleshooting problem with Celestial. We ran through a few different problems. And I had to restart my modem. My internet router. I had to restart it. So, oh no, my stream streak. Oh no. Oh, that's right, because you didn't get to tune in with the last time I streamed. Because OBS crashed out because of the frames. Well, a streak is something that can be gotten back. I know it can be gotten back. Yeah, just my phone's horrible bitrate. You're fine, hon. Yeah. Because, again, I had to restart the whole router and everything. And I was, like, waiting for the Ethernet cable signal to show back up. And it's still just a case of, like, stream streaks aren't too big a deal, right? I remember when, like, they were being announced. To me, they came off as super important. But then I looked, I was like, oh, so it's not something drastic. Okay. Because I don't like big, scary changes. I don't. Do you have to see her? I'm invisible. Just, like, veins, the vein emote. Just fade away. His streaks are just for points. Yeah, that's it. They're just for extra points. I drew a Larry yesterday. Which Larry are we speaking of? Oh wait, I know this playlist. Airedale? Yes, I saw it. I'm like, I need to give it a listen. Because I realized this would be very good to draw to. That's it, yeah. Oh, Larry from Pokemon. I have yet to draw Larry from Pokemon. I need to try at some point. But in other news for Tomodachi, at least, I will say I have dug into the deepest recesses of my brain and found characters I used to hyperfixate over years ago. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll dig them back up just because even if I'm the only one who finds it funny, it's still the randomness of Tomodachi. To where I could throw in Bionicle characters and I know to me it'll be funny, let alone to anybody else who knew Bionicle, because I know my brother watches my streams. He's going to see it and he's gonna just text me like, what do you mean? Like, Takua's on Tomodachi. But even then, you make him be in Tomodachi Life. Probably. I mean, I made the main island I want to play with on stream Thursday, and then I'm like, because Riven has a profile on my system, and then I have an alternative file for things like Miitopia. Like, I don't want to erase save data I already have, so I'll just start a new one. I made an island there. I'm like, I have 3 different islands because I have so many OCs I want to put in Tomodachi, but we have only 70 slots. So I'm like, we'll work with this, and on different days, I'll switch between the islands, or we could just switch between the islands mid-stream. Because I gave them all different names. I made Boomer on one of them already. I made Boyer on a different one. Vane and Myra are on the same island as Boyer. I think 2 of my Yaocho Seas, it was Gardenia and Quicksilver, are on the same island as Boomer. And then, of course, I have, Shruby on the main file. Gotta save Boomer for alumni, yeah! But it's still that case in point. I was digging through, like, my different OCs, like, who all could I add? And like, cause Riffin was like, didn't you used to have a bunch of OCs for, like, Mega Man and, like, Bionicle and Hero Factory back in the day? I was like, yeah, but I need to try to remember them. I've remembered a good few of them, but there's a lot more canonical characters that I can add that would just be so random. And just, I feel like because Tomodachi Life is supposed to be so random, it'd fit even more. So adding, like, Toa-Tahu and Preston Stormer in the middle of it all would be pretty funny, at least to me. But one thing I especially thought of was, trying to, at least on some islands, maybe putting what our initial canonical love interest for OCs on the island, but seeing, does it happen, or does it become a complete crack ship? Because I feel like some of it would probably end up pretty funny. Because I don't know the odds of if I put Presley on the same island as Myra, if they'll even get together. Oh, talk about Tomodachi Life roll. Look what happened in mine. I know crushes are possible. I've seen, like, things for that all over YouTube, like on the clips, that people have gotten a bunch of crushes. I'm like, how did you manage this? Yeah, like, I've seen that. Like, what's funny is, it's just, like, I had Myra and Bowyer, I introduced them, and they had the whole steaming thing going on, like, the steam coming off their heads and the little, like, fluster, and I was like, wait a minute. Ain't no way. At least I wouldn't think it was possible. I think it's just luck of the draw. I know one Twitch streamer got Elmo crushing on their OC on accident. That's just part of what would make it so funny, because you don't know what's going to happen. Because I also realized, technically speaking, 2 of my OCs are, by all technical means, their canonical ship would technically be a crack ship. To a bit of a degree. That or just a one-sided ship, essentially. A Glitch and Gino just, yeah. Tellus and Amma, I know are gonna be fun to have, because it is just gonna be like the 2 moths running around, because I'm waiting to be able to make them pets. And just, they have little moths. I can't wait for that. I have one crack ship I want to make happen just to see what the fan base will think when I show it. That, to me, that's going to be the fun part. Just, you have this ship that happens, and it's like, behold, what happened? It's like, especially, like, what you can tell what happened was. That happened to be in the same place at the same time. I did consider putting Rune and Sorores on the same island as Emma and Telos, even though I know odds are they might not get together, which is fine. But I did realize one thing, and I realized it was that with Thancred and Pertisan, I was like, I just can't crack ship them with anyone else. I literally can't. But yeah, not to mention redrawing those scenes. Oh yeah, Donovan and Polaris, let alone everyone else, just, It's definitely going to get, really, really interesting, especially with the dream sequences. If the Turo and Erebus don't end up together, I'm a riot. I can see maybe about adding other people's OCs into mine. It depends on how big of like a idea block I have. I want to save, I think, at least 20 or 30 slots for like ship children to see whatever happens. Actually, not them. I won't spoil because I'm a little embarrassed to say. I see. I mean, if it's a secret, it's a secret. We'll find out later. But I have been, I guess I can say, been getting pretty good with the doodle tool on the Me Maker and the demo. I could try to make Erebus if it's okay. I can try like to make my little spin, make my own little spin on making a me of Erebus. Yeah, we'll find out Thursday. We will find out Thursday. Girl, I get the embodiment of chaos to crush a Gino. You can't have worse. I mean, you never know. You never know what might happen. But I know there's like different characters I do want to add because, especially since I've been reading in the like a few more of the Predator comics, I was able to get a few more of the digital copies on Kindle, and I wanted to add some characters possibly from the Predator comics. I know because of Serenade, I wanted to add Shuri, like, which is like, the guy's name's T'Challa. I hope I'm saying that right. Or Black Panther's younger sister. Because Serenade is actually in a bit of a one-sided thing with them. They're more friends than they are a couple, but Serenade is crushing so hard on Shuri in terms of the Predator Marvel series of comics. Like, Serenade crushes really, really hard. Most tablet pens work on the Switch too. We can always touch them up off screen. I've been using my Switch, which cannot have a tablet pen. Even then, I don't have a tablet pen that would work. My drawing stylus I don't think would work. But I've seen people use stylus pens to achieve like more realistic looking eyes or more cute anime style eyes. So there is that. But I'm gonna stop tapping because I don't have the guys on to get angry. Have a good night. But still don't look at the screen. Yeah. Have a good night, 10 girl. Have a good sleep. Oh, I thought of a name for Nove's boy band group. Did you? Star Pops. Oh, that'd be cute. It reminds me of like there was a type of candy. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like a form of Pop Rocks, and they just pop. And it just makes me think like if you mix it with Star Bits or like Completo, which is the candy Star Bits are based on, and if they popped and crackled in your mouth, that'd be so cool. But it's also just that fact of it's just such a cute name. But one of the things with Riven he mentioned in terms of OCs, like digging up old OCs from the past, I had my own Mega Man like professor, and she had her own line of Robot Masters. She had a handful of them, so I don't want to add a bunch. I definitely want to add her in Shademan because she was shipped with Shademan. Very happy relationship. But those two, I'd say a few Robot Masters. I guess I could pick and choose some of my favorites. Cause Starman, I always loved Starman. There was Terra of the Star Droids. And there was a few others. I'm grasping at straws a little bit. Though I think you could probably look at the Robot Masters and see where my favoritism's a little bit, like, pigeonholed. Oh yeah, Pharaoh Man! He was one of my favorites, especially because of the Mega Man cartoon. that has been gift. That one particular scene has been gift, and I love it so much. Or like a soda with edible glitter mixed in. That would be so cute. I've actually thought about that in terms of a weapon world thing. Like, it's glitter soda, but anyone can drink it. Yeah, now I've got your power, yeah! I need to dig up that gift just because. Like, but I know that I can definitely look into it because in terms of the Bionicle side of things, just because I had a Toa OC named Celine, and she was essentially like, she had crystal powers, is the best way I can say it, and she could copy the elemental powers of other Toa, because Toa have different elemental powers. I don't want to go, like, head first into the lore because it gets so confusing. But that's essentially the sum up. Every Toa has different kinds of powers, different elemental powers, and she could mimic them. Again, she's really old. Tento is older than her, though. Tento is far older than her. Speaking of Tento, I thought about dragging his old boyfriend, Tiger Paw, into the picture. It's just, I've left him in the dust quite a while. I need to re-update his reference sheet. I need to get a reference sheet or so going for every last one of my Yachi OCs. I just need to. Tinto was from D&D. Tinto was a Yautja before he became an elf wizard. That was a fact. Like, he was a Yautja before he became a wizard. An elf wizard. And even then, even as a Yautja, he's still a wizard. But not to the traditional definition of a wizard. He could say hocus pocus, but it's what he ends up casting as a spell is more of a firecracker. Or like poppets. I mean, he'll give you a sparkly surprise, but it's not exactly the kind of spell, magical spell you'd imagine. But Tiger Paw was definitely the gruffer, sort of down-to-earth character who Tento essentially was, like, softened up in terms of him being too stubborn. Like, too stubborn, too arrogant. Just kind of keel-hauled him back down to reality. Gosh, I gotta completely overhaul Telecus. Yeah, I need to draw up a list of characters because the Axum Rangers and my own Axum Ranger OCs, I wanted to put on one of the other two islands because I feel like they would clog up the initial island that I wanted to play with on Thursday. So, for them, I'm pretty sure they would take up a whole slot because there's 5 Axum Rangers, technically 6, because Axum Blue was meant to join the original Axum Rangers that you fight in RPG. It's just that she has a reason for not being there at first, but she's supposed to be part of the initial group. But then comes in, which would be Axum Ranger Team B, which is Orange and the others. So yeah, they would take up a whole slot +2, a whole row +2, because I'm picturing it in my head on the Tomo planner, which is very helpful. It really is. It lets you go ahead and figure out personalities ahead of time too, and tells you the direct way to get them. So it's very helpful. but it's that fact of, I feel like they'd be better off put on a different island just for the sake of them not clogging up everything. But I know for the first island, of course, there is the ones I already have from the demo, which is Shubi, Riven, and Tento. I do want to add Tiger Paw. I want to also add Cleric and Serenade. But because of Serenade, I want to add Shuri. But Cleric, I'm very stuck on either adding one of the people he's shipped with in, or just leave him out in the open for who knows what to happen. That's one of the things I'm thinking of. So, there is that. And then there's Reaper. Because of Reaper, I want to add Mike Harrigan. Because that's one of my more one-sided-ish kind of relationships, but I feel like it's a bit of a crack ship anyway. So, add in a potential crack ship that might just get, you know, changed around for a whole different set of crack ships. But I would like to see if I could get them together. I wish we could allow visitors from other islands. I think you could only do stuff like that with local play, they said. So, which makes me think, if you had the game on 2 different Switches, like, me and Riven both have our own Switch, and if he got the game on his own main profile, like how I'm getting it on mine, on my system in general, and from there, we could just, I think we could either exchange Miis or visit each other's islands to a degree, or just share stuff from them. I can't remember exactly, and I'm pretty sure he spaced out about it because I was like, I don't have anybody to local play with. I don't have anybody. Unless Celestial went and got the game, who knows. Not my cup of tea, though. Yeah, I know it's not. I always said with The Sims 4, you're more of the decorator type because I would put stuff together and say, hey, does this wallpaper even remotely match the furniture? Or does it even, like, match the feng shui of the house? That's more of your sort of thing, not exactly life simming. It's more so building and tying a home together in a form of style. Not so much, like, booting 2 characters together and see if or not they start throwing things at each other. Yeah, for some reason, I've got an eye for decorations. But that's the thing, though. Because some people literally play The Sims just to play dress up or just to build houses. They really do. And that's not a bad thing. I try to make my Minecraft houses look cozy. Yeah, but I'm not great when it comes to Minecraft. I'm good when it comes to The Sims. I'm unfortunately just not when it comes to Minecraft. I wish. But that does remind me, what designs were y'all planning on doing for your island? Because since I'm doing 3 different islands, I already had an aesthetic in mind for mine. But my main file, I literally am planning on trying to make it like a little whimsical forest with like mushrooms and everything. I'm going to try. I just don't know how the palette thing or the drawing part will work for buildings. I don't know just yet. Also, what color makeup goes in someone's complexion. I did that for my mom. Yeah, so technically speaking, you would be good for, like, judging if or not, like, a sim I made actually fits. Because I have times I'm like, I have no idea if that jacket even works for them, but I already spent 3 hours on this character, so we're doing it. We are wearing the jacket. It may or may not look good. I'm gonna try either for Solarpunk or Cyberpunk. Either way, the island shall be a cogwheel. That makes me think of Mechanus from D&D. It's nothing but I think they said they described it literally as gears churning in the middle of space. And that's an entire plane of existence. The entire plane of existence is nothing but that, and it's so cool. But I thought of for mine, like, since I decided to name it Whimsy Woods Island, it's going to be like this mystical forest. But then came the second one, And I was like, you know what? I want to go with a little village like aesthetic, just something small, something cute. And then the third one, I was like, I'm gonna really challenge myself and make a city. Ads, yeah. I'm sorry, dear. But you cannot escape them. Nobody can escape them, especially on YouTube. Never YouTube. But so I want to try to make a forest, like a bit of a mix of the Hobbit with the mythical forests you'd see in fairy tales. And then there's a village, a cutesy village. Exactly what village aesthetic, I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking of just like a little flower village, maybe. And then, if anything, that one might take more from the Hobbit, but pardon. And then comes the city. And that one I know is going to be fun to do. My guess is that you can make things individually glow on the buildings. That's my guess. Because I love to add glowing mushrooms to like the decorations on buildings, because then it's like you have a nice little home, and then mushroom, all the glowing mushrooms that like may as well line their pathway. So a mix of forest and urban to a degree, because I feel like that's kind of what the village will be, but at the same time I don't know how exactly I'll pull off the whimsiest of the woods. But I know I'll figure out something, because I know it'll be a lot of trees, a lot of making plants, especially the to me, fairy tale forest screams big mushroom. Big mushroom you can sit on. If like a creature's small enough, it can crawl underneath and sleep under it. That sort of thing. Whimsy! That's exactly what I'm going for. Just pure whimsy. Like, I could add fireflies anywhere and it'd be like, yep, checks out. Seems legit. And it's especially because this is the island that Telos, Amma, Rillis, and Hecate are going to be on. And all four of them have whimsy in common. They have some kind of whimsiness to them. All of the whimsy, yes! Because think about it, you have a dark moth, a moth of the light, because that's Telos and Amma. You have Firefly Child, which is Rillis, and then you have the witch who does it all, but loves frogs. It's meant to be. It's straight up meant to be. At least in my opinion. It is. But it's still that case in point fact. Because I know that you can make pets. Because I remember the crafting part, it said you can make pets. So for Helix, I do want to make Ami, but then there is the fact that Sarissa and Halbert will be there too, along with Yuridovich. That's another thing. Should I try to get Yuridovich and Manchester together? Because I know in The Sims, I can just boot them into the relationship, but should I try to get them together? Because Manchester's gonna be in Tomodachi with his little sister Ketchley, who I really need to do a reference for, along with Triana and Bicor. But Triana and Bicor have been drawn before. They're on Manchester's reference. Yes, I want to try, but I don't know if I should, or if I should just leave it to random chance. I mean, odds are, I can pull something off. I just know, like, you have to get them to spend a lot of time together, or they may hit it off the bat. Who knows? But it's still that fact. It's still that whole case in point. Because I know I could try with them, and I really want to give Helix his puppy. I want to give him Ami. But from there, it's that factor of Smithy. I thought of adding him in Witchy just because, but I don't think that I'd have the room for it. Well, Since I put Bowyer on a different island, I probably could. But I don't want to put, all of Smithy's siblings all on one island. I probably could, but I don't think I should. Because in total, if you count Smithy, there are 7 individuals that make up the Smith family. You could call it the Smith family, because they're all a type of smith, or a type of, weapon maker. But, and I mean, Rune's a runesmith. Like, straight up. Annie is based on a silversmith. But it's the fact of still, that's 7 people. 7. So I think it'd be best to either split them apart, or to at least maybe group them together. Pizza deployed, T-minus 12 minutes and counting. I don't even know what I'm gonna eat for dinner just yet. I might eat soup. Thank you. I have a bit of soda. I have a cold one in the refrigerator, but I don't want to get it just yet. There we go. But, yeah, I think what I need to do is decide who's going to be where in terms of the siblings. I think since there are 7 of them, I'm bound to get an odd number somewhere. Because that would be... Otherwise, that'd be 2 per island, but then I'd have the random left over. I guess I could put Annie with Smithy and Rune. Pretty sure that would work out. Now that we know all is in the green, I'm gonna go back to Brothership. Yes, I'm playing it from the start again. Wait, how many times have you played SMRPG, dear? Was it like at least 10 times? I feel like it's been 12. Oh yeah, apartments. We gotta figure out those. Yes. the apartments. I'm thinking of putting Presley on the same island as Myra and Vane. And I think I'll put, Quincy there too. And then Fern and Casper, I'll put them on the same island as Boomer, Quicksilver, and Gardenia. Because then I can just put Anne-Valin with Smithy. Because Anne-Valin is Smithy's twin. She's literally Smithy, but a girl... And with different shape-shifting forms and a better attitude. She really does have a better attitude. But she's his twin, and she is a troublemaker for Smithy. Just completely. My poker table 4 would work as an apartment group, pretty much. I have the logo for Star Pops in mind, but I need help with the members. What are you thinking in terms of the members? Oh, did you see the hydrate? Yeah, I took a sip. It just, my water cup is empty, and I only have, I think, I'd say this is a bit more than a mouthful of Mountain Dew left. I just know if I tried, like, swallowing it all in one go, that's going to hurt. I've definitely hit double digits with RPG, combining original and remake. Yep. I knew it. I don't know if it's 12 exactly, but I knew it. But, there's one with a blue ponytail. I mean, one thing that comes to mind is Minior. They're a shooting star-based Pokemon, and they come in different colors, so there is that one. Dang, I gotta step up my game. I'm waiting to possibly play RPG on stream proper now that I have an Elgato. I'm waiting to make the time for it. But I feel like I have to not only get through Miitopia eventually, but I have to also I'm going to get to playing Tomodachi for real though. Original's like 7 or 8, remake is 5, maybe 6. I'd lean more towards 6. Because of just how much I remember you playing it when it first came out, let alone replaying it. My brain sponge is drier than Death Valley. Oh, I was exactly that way this morning because I couldn't get to sleep for shit. And I got a lavender scented frog. It's a weighted plushie that's just like my axolotl plushie, but it's far more lavender scent infused. And I had him like laying on my head, so I was just smelling lavender. and I was like, I'm not falling asleep. How I've been hyper so far this afternoon, I have no clue. I have no idea how. But you gotta hydrate it, drink more water. Pretty much, I have. I mean, the Minior idea, because at least from there has like different color ideas. That's one thing I would think, because I know you have blue, and then you have orange, pink, if not red. You could make it red if you wanted. I know there's green, yellow. The shiny is black and white with like confetti. So there is also that one. And there's purple. That's right, there's purple. There's a purple one. So, depending on how many members in the group you would want to have, you could make them all have different styles and designs and their own signature color. Different nature elements. Exactly! Because from there, you can really run away with an idea. Another one I think would factor into it is what kind of pop group exactly are they? Because if, like, there are different genres of pop, and I'm a person who just likes different kinds of music, but I know there are different varieties of pop music. I especially know this because of Spotify. Having said, oh, this kind of pop and stuff like that, I was like, okay. Yeah, they're K-pop. Oh. That just makes me think, there are different K-pop groups out there, and my brother listens to quite a few of them. Is Tiara one of them? He listens to so many, I can't remember. My brain just mixes together pop music. That's the bad part. But Tiara has a song called Sugar Free, and I can't help but think of Telos every time I hear it. But I don't know. There's a lot of different groups, so you can look up and see, like, get different designs ideas after, because they all have their own different styles and aesthetics, I do think. But I haven't seen the movie, but I think K-pop Demon Hunters would probably also be a good idea. A good idea for inspiration as well, because like, it's pretty stylized as well. Like, in terms of like what each of the bands in terms of their own aesthetics. Like, I've only seen bits and bobs in terms of jokes and memes and whatnot, but from what I've been able to tell, they have their own, like, they have their own aesthetic to them. Which I know for a band is important. But, it does make me think, though, at least. Because I have thought of band ideas before, but they're either folklore-themed bands or heavy metal / rock and roll. One is basically supposed to be Telos' favorite band. They're called the Red Caps, and it's just a bunch of toads that have red caps. Like, their caps either have red spots, or I think it was that the leader of the band had an all red cap with white spots, which, you know, spotted him out as the leader of the group. But they're supposed to be Telos' favorite band, and it's supposed to be a joke on mythology. Um, I'd like to see a pop band with a polka aesthetic. I'd love that. Just, just this little polka pop band. It would be so cute. Cause there's this one OST, like, it's just this one song. I don't remember what it was, but it was like a beer and polka themed playlist, and they're just so peppy, and I love them. Like Weird Al, but with glitter and funny animals. Cause I remember stuff with Weird Al, that actually fits a lot. But the folklore band was a Poplin-based band, from what I remember, and it was one of Telos's favorite, more folklore-themed kind of music, like it's kind of like how you have the sea shanties nowadays being brought back into with a more modern beat to them. It's essentially that idea, but it's Poplins. And then this one, I know might sound like a stretch, but the band, I love them a lot. The band is called the Sugar Peas, and they're supposed to be a beanish group. And it mixes cutesy pop and adorableness with heavy metal. But it works so well. And they're based after the real life band Baby Metal, which is a Japanese heavy metal group. And I love them so much. And it's just like, it's so cute, but it's that heavy metal rock and roll. And like, there are moments they dip into other genres for a moment in their songs, and it just blends together. Yeah, modern sea shanties, I gotta get in on that. Nathan Evans is one of the people I listen to when it's like, I want to hear a more modern take on one. Like, they add more instrumental to it and everything. And it's not just, singing in the open air. That reminds me, like, Rilis's own type of style, musical style, he's just a pure jazz, electro swing kind of guy. Completely. That reminds me of the S.S. Fitzgerald famous song in Duluth. I don't think I've heard of that one. I might have to look it up and see. Because I don't think I've heard that one. But Rilis is straight up, if you wanted to summarize his taste in music, the whole Cuphead soundtrack would work. The entire soundtrack for the game Cuphead would fit him perfect. My idea of a theme song for him was the basic theme song for the fourth island from the Delicious Last Course. Because I was looking through different songs, and I found that one, and I'm like, yes, this fits him completely. Like, this would be the kind of song you would hear walking up to him in his cafe to talk to him. This would be his theme song, essentially. But, that reminds me, I've heard an electro swing version of, Wellerman. It's so bubbly and bouncy, to where it's like, it's so different, but I couldn't stop listening to it. It was so good. But it's still that fact. I found Noves. Did you? Emma shares the folklore favoriting of genre with Telos because they're brother and sister. Essentially, they're twins. But she, instead of rock and metal, she prefers classical and cutesy pop more. And star pops. Did you? Let me... that's a YouTube link. I'll save it for later and listen to it. But I see the character. They are so cute. I'll listen to it later. But yeah, I'll listen to it later. They look so cute. Plus, I don't know if that music's copyrighted or not. But it's still that fact. Hekate is a bit more funny because his is a bit of a mix of folklore, but it's more rustic, kind of. But also with anything with a more ethereal kind of hauntingness to it. And then there's more tribal-like music because he essentially lives in the dirt. He is essentially the kind of person where it's like he's most at home outside than he is inside. And the only time he's inside is if he's working. Otherwise, he prefers to just be outside. Because that's just how Hekate is. I like to think he's that odd, but he's that quirky, kind of funny odd that you just can't help but find endearing. You got me thinking Donovan's death metal, Onyx prefers video game music, and Polaris with traditional girl bands. I mean, it's that simple fact of like, I like putting different OC's tastes side by side and just seeing how much they mix versus how much they differ. Because Rose Stern is a wildly different direction. Because Rose Stern loves classical music and prefers dramatic, orchestral soundtracks per se, especially if it's used in stage plays. So things like Swan Lake, Romeo and Juliet, just anything dramatic in one regard or another. Yeah, Cola is literally that one song that's just cats. Is it Nyan Cat? I'm trying to remember. I don't know of many others, but I think it was that's the only one that comes to mind is Nyan Cat. Ivory would also like orchestral soundtracks. Yeah. It just I know of a few characters of mine just that would love orchestral soundtracks, but then it's like they look at the others and just like they just write off with it. Realist doesn't mind orchestral soundtracks. It's just he likes a bit more of a beat, a rhythm. So that's the funny part. He would like waltz, but he does not like formal occasions. He doesn't like formal occasions. I mean, he controls the element of fire, and yet he doesn't like spicy stuff either. So yeah, late game Utopia is gonna be funny. Clash of tastes, so to speak, pretty much, but it's in a good way, because then you can see where they compare, but where they also contrast, like the similarities and the difference. Which to me it really shows what makes characters unique versus if they're similar, how similar yet different are they? Because Telos and Emma are supposed to be twins. Like, they're jokingly the unofficial moth twins. But they have so many similarities and yet so many differences to where it actually gets extremely comedic. So that essentially goes down to where when I start finally getting around to writing for the Star Warrior program again, because I still am tweaking their notes, writing them is going to be such a hoot. Because Emma's socially, out there, she's bubbly, she's a social butterfly, she's a little shy, but she's still more social than Telos is, because he's a gremlin, he's slow to trust people, and just... He's just aloof until he kind of starts to warm up to people, and it's like he gets used to their presence first, and then he starts becoming friends with them properly. But you quickly find people he has a soft spot for. And that's a lot of the younger people in the camp. And when work forced me to have to rewrite and figure out my OC lore all over again, because looking back at old OCs now, I realize I barely remember much about them aside from an idea of what they look like, their name, and then just what was the basic theme about them. And that's it. I don't remember much in terms of backstory. If nothing at all, there's a lot of them I don't remember backstory for. And then there's just personality. Like, I remember maybe they were shy, maybe they were timid. I remember one character, it was Alice. Um, she was real social. But looking back at her personality, like what she had just in terms of, she was overly bubbly to the point where now I look and I'm like, she's a bit much. And I look back and I'm like, it would be best to try to refine her personality more. So then she has more character aside from she smiles through everything except for when things go absolutely terrible. Yeah, pizza has landed at non-lethal temperature beginning consumption. Have a good pizza. I hope it's tasty. But yeah, but I think that's a good thing about with Tomodachi then. It's like, I find all these old OCs that I haven't used or looked at in a long time, and I get to refine them. Because it's not just Telos and Amma and them I had to rework, it's all of them that I feel like deserve to be brushed off and given new light again, even if I'm not as hyperfixated on the franchises they're from anymore. Because I still have my Hero Factory and Bionicle books. I have them on my bookshelf right here behind me. So I also have the same with Mega Man, Legend of Zelda, but I have these OCs, and I just do not remember much about them for the life of me, except for name, a basic idea of what they look like, and the basic premise of what they kind of were. This is like, add Lucille as a joke in Tomodachi Life. I'd have to look and see about Lucille. That's a neat way of putting it. Like, Donna Rose did start in Tomodachi Life. Yeah. But, like, yeah, there was one other Hero Factory character I have. I do not remember her last name, and it's hilarious. Because all the robots, at least the heroes, I remember distinctly go by their last name, but they had a full name. But she was different, because she went by her first name, and her first name was Elizabeth. And she was a love interest to Preston Stormer. That's all I remember about her, aside from personality-wise. She was sweet, motherly, and you did not want to get on her bad side, because otherwise she was scary. So, essentially, again, it's that case in point of, like, at least trying to dig up as many of the OCs I have that I can remember, and just dusting them off, because I feel like they at least deserve that. Even if bringing them into Tomodachi is because it's like, it's pure comedy, it's still that fact. Like, the only reason I think I remember properly what Elizabeth even looks like is because with the Hero Factory figurines I have, like, because I got them when I was younger and I still have them, I made the figurine that was essentially Elizabeth. And she's sitting next to my Von Nebula figurine because they were old friends. And again, that's one of the very few things I have. Who dat? Do you mean Elizabeth or Stormer? Because I know I name dropped quite a few different characters there. Comedy's a great way of building character. And for me in this case, it's rebuilding characters because I don't remember them, and I want to make them better than what I remember them being, because what I remember them otherwise is pretty shallow. Dinah Rose. Donna. It's Donovan and Rosalina. Donovan and Rosalina. Their ship. Not Dinosaur Rose. That just makes me think of a little Brachiosaurus with roses on it, and it's so cute. That needs to be a pet in Tomodachi Life. I'm saying it now. I need to remember to do that. That would be so cute. I'm sorry, but that would be so cute. It just would be. Yeah, or Chikorita's Final Evo. Pretty much, yeah. But, yeah, because I'm trying to remember any other franchises I need to dig up. I didn't have any OCs for Transformers. That's the funny part. And I know I was huge into Transformers back in the day. I didn't have any for Transformers. I didn't have any for Ninja Turtles. Okay, I think I had one for Legend of Zelda. And she was an interesting character. At least, I know in terms of revising her to be better. Now that I've gotten more grander in terms of writing characters, I think. She would definitely be interesting. Because she was essentially, like, loyal to Ganondorf. And she was, like, a Grand Archer. Which is fitting because Gerudo are Grand Archers. But no, I think I had a few others. I'd really have to boggle my head about it. I really would have to. I'd have to sit and like talk with Riven like, what do you remember? Because I don't exactly remember. Because he seems to remember more about them than me. More in terms of their existence. Like, I used to doodle them, but I don't think I have the doodles anymore. I think they got thrown away years ago. And I don't even know where my old art box is. I think it's somewhere in my closet, but I don't know where in my closet it is. What now? I'll tell you more about it later. It's just in terms of trying to remember old OCs. I was an ad hell. Remembering old OCs, because you seem to remember a few more of them than I do, but I don't remember ever having some for certain franchises. This exhausted pose. I don't know if the EP's sitting in or what, but regardless. I still have my old DA account that I'll have to skim through it. Yeah, because I have D&D characters, but I think I've only put 3 of them on my art fight. And that was just because I wanted to have a break from pure Mario characters. Completely and entirely. I just know I have a lot of robot characters. As if having liked Hero Factory and Bionicle when I was younger didn't say anything about that. I just like robots a lot. I really do. I just think they're neat. Girls say. What's this pose? Oh, just blip. Just a collapse. Just. That's cute. That is a tired. That is a very eepy pose. Very eepy. But yeah, I've had more Yautja characters. I've had a ton of Mario characters, especially as of RPG. I had quite a few Hero Factory and Mega Man characters. But even then, that's me after working the weekend. Same, because every other Sunday. See, last weekend I was off, and I spent most of it sleeping. I think that's probably why I couldn't get any sleep last night for shit. But, this upcoming weekend, I not only have to work, I have to work all day Sunday. I legit have to work from, on Sunday, I have to work from, like, 5:30 to, like, 6:30 to possibly 7:30 at night. And I'm starting to see that might be kind of where I lose motivation of doing something. I'm like, I could do this, or I could eat food and sleep. What are the other? I end up eating food and sleep most often. Oh, this is cute. What is that? Oh, it's like looked like they stumbled and fell. It's like that look of oops. It's adorable. It's like they tripped over their own little titties. You know, oof, been thinking about adding my Minecraft OCs to Art Fight. I don't have any Minecraft OCs. That's the funny part. I'm trying to remember if I ever had a Kirby OC. I swear, something in my head tells me I once did, but I do not remember for the life of me. I could have sworn I did, but I do not remember. But even then, game theory helped with that obsession. Like, Minecraft or Kirby. Because I don't remember if I ever had one. I might have at least had one. But I never dug really deep into the Kirby lore, though I wouldn't be surprised if nobody blamed me for just wanting to make just a little guy. Just 'cause cute game. That's secretly very, very dark. Minecraft, they made a timeline for Minecraft. Oh, that's right, they did. Especially because of like a lot more of the ancient stuff came out. I'd have to look into it, possibly. Yeah, I don't know if the EPs are setting in or what. Then again, like I said, I had been hyper most of this afternoon, so I wouldn't be surprised if the EP was trying to creep its way in. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. But with that case, since that's like the second yawn and not too long now, I would say that it'd be best to call it a night. Hyper withdrawal is setting in. Yes, it is. But good news is, I have not dropped any frames. So that goes to show even further, the troubleshooting has worked. And all is better again. At least that is until the network goes crazy again. I've been told things in my area have been a little crazy. Like, here and there. Everybody's apparently been having issues of some kind or another. You know, awesome. Yeah. Just, it makes me real happy. But if you want to call it a night, you can if you want. Yeah, because I have to be up at like 6 in the morning and be there at 7. And yeah, I think the withdrawal is really starting to kick in, so I might want to eat food before I possibly crash. You need your rest, dear. Yeah, I do. So, I'll call it here, and I'm glad to see things are fixed, at least for now. I know with internet, it's always a big for now. But I'll see y'all Thursday, and me and Miss D will play Tomodachi, and the chaos will commence. we have a lot to do on Thursday. Alrighty, see you Thursday. See you later, Miss D. I'll see you all later. Y'all have a good night. Chaos, chaos, chaos. Y'all have a good night.